healthy, and what's going to be really fun is we're doing a whole bunch of patient experiences. One that just barely happened. Well, anyway, I'm just not going to steal that thunder. So excited to be back with you. We're off for Thanksgiving, and we were going to do a pre-recorded show, and then we got into the spirit of the holidays, and it was just nice to have a little bit of a break. So I think we had done 34 straight lives, and now we're back on track on how to be healthy, and specifically talking this time of year on basically what's happening for the winter season, how to avoid the sniffles, how to avoid different types of infections. And so we continue to get outstanding results with the protocol of vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D3, and zinc. And something that was really fun to learn about, just when you think you got a pretty good handle on the vitamins and learn something new, vitamin A. Now, traditionally used vitamin A for respiratory infections for kids. For vision, it's in beta carotene, it's in squash, it's in carrots. It's such a neat component of lubricating the mucous membrane. And then when we talk about the infection that's all over the United States and what we can do to be healthy about it, one of the things that we were using initially on, and I really like this, is elderberry. Now, elderberry is really, really good for viral infections. I've had a lot of clinical experience with that. And then there was some people saying, hey, you shouldn't use elderberry because of the cytokine storm. So what a cytokine storm is it's when we get all these chemicals that are coming through the the immune system, and what happens is you start releasing toxins from what you're killing off, and it can potentially bother people. But here's the neat thing. Vitamin A helps to reduce cytokine storms for anything that you're killing off as far as part of infections. And I just learned that. I thought I had a pretty good handle on vitamin A. What a neat thing. I have increased my doses of vitamin A. I don't want to get sick this winter. I think we've been pretty lucky about that. Vitamin A, 10,000 units in the morning. I like to take 10,000. This is what I'm doing. 10,000 units in the morning, 10,000 at night through the winter season. So about 20,000 international units is what I'm taking. I'm not suggesting that it's what you're taking without some, doctor supervision, but that's what I really like. Vitamin A for the mucous membranes. It's so good for upper respiratory tracts in kids. And guess what? The best source of it is your knife and fork. So again, carrots, squash, colorful things like yellow peppers, red peppers, green peppers, there's vitamin A in it. There's a little bit of vitamin A in your citrus fruits, the oranges and lemons, and it's so good to eat them, not to drink them. So the other thing that was really fun, talking about viral conditions and the viral season, is to help someone named Royden. Now, Royden's turned into a friend of mine. He's from my neck of the woods, and Royden is a chicken expert. And what I mean by that is he just really likes chickens. He told me that there was over 200 different strains and types of chickens, and he sent me a PowerPoint presentation. And what was happening with Royden is he was having some neurologic conditions secondary to some viral stuff. And now when we clean up the virus, what happened is all the seizures disappeared. And it's not just him saying it. This is Royden's story. So if you're just joining us, it's the Dr. Jason West live program, Thursday nights, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. And we're just getting back on track. We were off for Thanksgiving, and now we're coming back. And by the way, if you're watching this either live or you're picking up a little bit later on Facebook or YouTube, can I just tell you, please comment about topics you would like to address. So we've had requests, as weird as it sounds, about back pain coming from posture and about women's tissue. There's a question, it's kind of a funny little topic that we're talking about. That's one thing. Also, we're going to talk about canker sores. We're going to talk about what we can do for the rash, for autoimmune conditions, specifically for lupus, and also some of the other rashes that occur from autoimmune conditions. That's a topic. But please comment your topic requests inside the comment line so we can build out a really neat 2021 topic library. So Dr. Jason West program, we're talking about how to get people healthy from viral infections, and this is a really interesting case where a virus attacks the nervous system. I talk about this all the time in the British Journal of Medical Practitioners. My favorite study, chronic viral infections cause neurobehavior, neurodegenerative, psychiatric, autoimmune, and fatiguing illness. When you help people's immune system to work the right way, you can get a lot of these conditions. Royden's proof of it. This is Royden, his mom, and Dr. West inside the office. Check it out. All right, here we go. Lining up the sound. Darla, Royden, and Dr. West. Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Royden and Darla and Dr. West. We just finished with Royden's reevaluation that we had, which we started working together about 8 or 9 months ago, I think, right? And so I asked him, like, this is such a good outcome. It's so fun to participate where someone just really responded. He did everything that he was supposed to do. And Royden, how do you feel now?
Fine.
Yeah, so fine is an understatement. Like, sometimes we have to pry information out of them because it's
excellent.
Okay, see? All right, so Royden, we started working together at the beginning of the year. What did you feel like when you came in?
Worried, I guess.
So we had some anxiety and worry. What else?
Well, I just didn't know what was going on, I guess.
And then the other thing was it was hard for you to get to sleep.
Yeah.
So what would happen when you were trying to get to sleep?
I don't know, things would be rushing through my head. I couldn't focus. I just couldn't calm down.
And so, Darla, tell everybody what Royden was like when he came in. I mean, he kind of is telling you, but like, it's a lot more significant than what he's saying.
Exactly, especially from a parent's point of view. We had 2.5 years of over 100 seizures. We are actually some of the lucky ones compared to other people with epilepsy. It wasn't a daily event, but at least once a month. We had a whole day of seizures, pretty constant. And we went to medical doctors. We got medicine, which slightly helped his OCD, but it didn't help the seizures. And they continued to get worse and worse. And as a parent, to have to watch your child go through that once a month, and then every time they're away from you, you worry. Are they going to have one? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to be a grandma? Is somebody going to be there to help them? It's not a life you want to live. And more than anything, I worried about what it was doing to his brain. I was done. I was done watching him have problems with his brain. And a friend of mine had mentioned to me to come see Dr. West, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. But we made the leap, and we did, and I'd do it 1,000 times over, and I'm so glad that we did it.
So, Royden, tell everybody some of the treatments that we did. You were worried about remembering all of them. No pressure, but, like, first of all, what did we have you do at home?
We had the Congoplex and Cataplex, the OPC Synergy, then there was like vitamins.
So everybody, what we are doing for, what he's talking about is we gave Royden the most important vitamin, which is the one that he needed. So we found a virus in his system, which I felt was triggering all of the nerve stuff. And Darla, when I said that, did you line up with that, or were you kind of questioning, like, what happened when I first said, hey, look, he's got a virus?
I couldn't believe, as soon as I saw his blood on, well, my first thought was, I haven't seen that since high school. Why don't medical doctors do that? How awesome that this chiropractor did what made sense in my head. It worked. As soon as I saw the blood on the screen, before you even turned around and said that, I remembered thinking, that blood doesn't look right. And only about a quarter of his cells even looked somewhat healthy. And all the rest of them, you could see the white dots of a virus. As soon as Dr. West said that, I was like, wow, I would never have believed that that's what was causing this.
She thought it was in the family.
Yeah, I thought the seizures were more genetic than anything.
So one of the things that happens and this is a study that we give to people, is when you have a chronic infection, it causes neurobehavior, neurodegenerative, psychiatric, autoimmune, and fatiguing illness. So when we did the workup with him, and we've had really good outcomes with epilepsy and seizure and stuff like that by giving the body nutrient building blocks, protecting the nerves, and getting the immune system to work. And so when I heard this, I was thinking, oh, I know I can help. Now, I didn't want to say that right away to mom and dad because they were just cautious. They don't want to get their hopes up. It wasn't, belligerent. It wasn't skeptical. It was just guarded. And then when we saw that, and what she's talking about is we have a process where you can look and see viral patterns. You can't really see the virus. You can see the viral characteristics. And so I knew that if we got his immune system working, that the nervous system would change. And so what we talked about is giving them stuff for the immune system, protecting the nerves, and then Royden, we did some other stuff. What are these other stuff that we did?
There's the red bed, the beta pod, or whatever it's called, and then I can't remember the other one.
So we did a red bed, what they call RTMS, and the theta pod, and what that does is it's just putting energy into the system, and it's supporting the nervous system from an energetic standpoint. And we kind of call it our Star Trek treatment. You know, it's really cutting edge and stuff like that. But then when we saw the blood today, Royden, what did it look like?
I couldn't find any signs of a virus.
No, so the cells looked healthy. Like it was really neat. They look good. Darla, what was your thoughts when you saw the blood?
It's gone. He's finally healthy again. It's gone. The virus is gone.
And the last time that Royden had a seizure was when?
8.5 months ago.
So
within a week of starting treatment with you, the seizure stopped.
Right. So we went from once a month, and we haven't had any, you know, knock on wood here. And now the protocol moving forward. And by the way, your neurologist gave you some really good advice. He told you to do what?
Stay on the keto diet. We've been on the keto diet also.
So I think that's
And
wonderful
so-
advice. Protect the brain, the nervous system. So high fats, medium protein, you know, avoid the carbs. It was just a really fun case all the way around, because when he walked in and we saw that, I said, if we can get his immune system working, then everything's going to get better. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So Royden, the reason why I asked you to tell your story is I wanted you to have other people to have hope that you're not your diagnosis, that you can beat your disease. Because the medical treatment was really, hey, let's just give him anti-seizure medicines until, you know, he either outgrows it or forever, right? And we said, well, there's got to be something that's triggering him. So we fixed the trigger. Is it okay if I share the story with other people and put it up on YouTube or Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Darla, any other comments? Like if someone was watching this and thinking, well, it worked for me, you know, you said, what would you tell them?
When we started this, my biggest thought was no money, no worry, no stress is too big to try and help your child. It's worth it. It doesn't matter what your finances are. It doesn't matter if you think I can't do the keto, because that was one thing I thought. When you see your child become healthy, it's worth it. And even if you don't quite have the same success we do, you don't know if you will or not. So you've got to make that effort for your family member, for yourself, for your child. I'm so glad we did it.
So for Royden, just to summarize, diagnosed with epilepsy, then and the seizures that were happening. Then we started on the right vitamin, which is the one that he needed. We stimulated the immune system. We protected the nerves. He got on the keto diet. They did everything right on the family side, even though it wasn't easy to switch. You know, basically this is how we were eating to, hey, we wanted to go to a heavy fat intake, but proof is right here. And it was just a really fun case to be a part of. And now our program is, we just want to keep him there. Like we don't have to do a bunch of treatments. I've said, hey, well, let's see if, you know, in 6 months, and then we'll probably see him every year after that. But if we maintain this, I anticipate that we're not going to have any more seizures. We've had this happen. I really don't think we're going to have seizures moving forward. So this is Darla and Royden and Dr. West signing out with a really fun seizure case, and we'll see you guys on the next life-changing video. Okay, guys, so that's Royden's story. It's all about the immune system, especially now going into the winter season, of what we can do to ward off coughs and what we can do to get rid of the sniffles and the flus and all the other infection that's in the environment. And one of the things that people ask me about is, so what do you do? Well, here's the basic rules to be as healthy as possible. One of the biggest things to do is to move. Now, I know that sounds really simple, but walking, exercise, getting out, and getting your lymphatic system to basically push all of the fluids back into circulation. So real easy explanation of the lymphatic system is it's all of the fluid that's in your body that's not in your bloodstream. Now, obviously, that's not 100% accurate, but it's a really simple rule. And guess what? When your muscles contract, it pushes the lymph fluid back into the lymph nodes and then back into the cardiovascular system and gets it over to the livers and kidney, and basically that's what happens, so you can clean the blood. And that's what we did here. So if you're just joining us, it's the Dr. Jason West Live. We're talking about how to feel healthy, especially at this time of year. What's the protocol if you do have some type of infection? And just like we showed with Royden, when you get things balanced, all of a sudden his diagnosis of epilepsy disappears. And what was the secret? Well, it was a combination of the immune system, protecting the cells, vitamin A, vitamin D, and zinc. Now, we got to talk really quick about vitamin D, because the higher levels that your vitamin D is, it appears that the data is telling us the less likely you are to get any type of infection. Now, typically the data, or the testing for vitamin D3 is somewhere between 30 and 80 nanograms per milliliter. And so what happens is a lot of people, especially in my neck of the woods in Idaho, I had a patient that just moved here from Wisconsin that was in the office today talking about winters and how balmy they are in Idaho compared to Wisconsin and to Chicago. So I'm not debating that, but I am saying that in the wintertime we have a tendency to get less movement and less activity and less sunlight. Vitamin D3 is so powerful for your immune system. We'd like to see your levels at least over 40. There was a study that I saw that viral infections have less impact of vitamin D levels of 38 and above. If you haven't had your vitamin D tested for a while, I think it's a really smart thing to do. Get your vitamin D3 tested. And also, it's so easy to supplement with vitamin D3. In the wintertime, what I personally do is to take 10,000 international units every day. I know people that are a lot higher than that. A lot of people are in 3,000 to 5,000. I just think 10,000 is good. In the summertime, I'm not always outside between 12 and 2, which is where we get a lot of the vitamin D hits your skin. It converts basically essential fatty acids to cholecalciferol. The best way for that is to be perpendicular to the sun, which is in the middle of the day. And that's why you have less seasonal affective mood disorders in the summertime than you do in the wintertime. So vitamin D3 is so important for your immune system. It's good for moods. It's good for hormones. It's good for your bone health. I think all women should be on vitamin D3 because it protects against osteoporosis. Now, one of my other favorite stories that we're going to share with you is on Ashley. And Ashley and her family have turned into really good friends of mine. They're over in Wyoming, it's multiple hours away, and what a great family. Ashley came in with a significant concern called cardiomyopathy. And her medical options were basically, hey, you know what, we want to put you on a blood pressure medication, and don't do too much because we don't want you to over-exercise the heart. That's one of the things that we were excited to help her with, because there is a specific type of cell rebuilding therapy called protomorphogen therapy. It's something that my grandfather taught my dad and my dad taught me. It's an advanced nutritional program, and basically what it is we give the building blocks to help a healthy heart. And this is just Ashley's story. I love it. It was really fun to be a part of. We're talking about how to be healthy, not only for your immune system, but so many people struggle with fatigue and lack of stamina. The heart's the first muscle in the body that shows stress and nutritional inadequacy. At least in my opinion, it's also the first muscle that you can have a nice correction by using an advanced old school technique going all the way back to 1930. So happy that my grandfather showed it to my dad, showed it to me. This is Ashley's story, you guys. It's fun. Check this out. Hey everyone, it's Dr. West and Ashley at the West Clinic doing our blog, A Daily Dose of Vitamin H, where we help people to get some hope about chronic and complex medical conditions. And this is just a fantastic story. I don't want to steal any thunder or anything because this is just straight up cool. So Ashley came in the office, how long ago?
About a year ago.
Okay, a year ago. And when you came in, what did you feel like?
I felt horrible. My heart was racing. I really just couldn't function. I was like, I gotta get some help.
Yeah.
Couldn't take care of my 5 kids very well.
Yeah, it was kind of glum. Like, she was like, hey, I don't even know what you can do, but please give me my life back. And as we were doing the workup today, she told me something pretty significant about her workup with her medical cardiologist. And what did he tell you?
In March, he told me that my peripartum cardiomyopathy that I had was completely resolved.
And so neat. So her heart was really stressed, diseased. It wasn't working right. And what we did to help you, Ashley, was what?
We did the IV therapy. We did the neural therapy. Trying to think what else we did.
So vitamin infusion treatments. We wanted to make the blood healthy. We want to put her on a specific nutritional program, and then we rewired the heart, which is a German treatment where we do neural therapy, where we make the nerves that control the heart open, close, and reset. And it's just fantastic. Like,
awesome.
And you came here today for what?
Just because I was having a little bit of heart racing, wanted to just get that fixed.
So a little bit of warranty work, but
feeling so much better.
It's awesome. It just makes me happy. I wanted to share the story with everybody else because you're not your diagnosis. There's always hope. And when we put together a specific nutritional program, you get outcomes just like Ashley's. So Ashley, it's okay if I put this on social media? Okay,
awesome.
So we're going to go out and share the news with everybody else. It's Ashley and Dr. West at the West Clinic, and we'll see you guys on the next video. All right, you guys, so just a little bit of a fun patient story to talk about how you can really help cells and organs by giving them the cellular blueprints to restore and help to get the organs healthy. It can work on hearts. We've seen it work on liver. You can see it work on kidneys and adrenal glands. And so the goal between all of the patient interactions and why we get so many wonderful success stories is balance, balance, and balance. We want to try and balance out the biochemistry. We want to balance out the biomechanics. We want to work on the energy levels. And so many of our patient success stories, we talk about a treatment called neural therapy, which is how you get the nervous system to open, to close, and to reboot. It's an amazing treatment modality. It comes from Germany. It's literally like an advanced kind of energy treatment, kind of like acupuncture. And one of the questions that we got asked from one of my fans over on YouTube, Cupcake Paper, how's it going? I haven't seen you for a little bit. Anyway, she said, is Manuka honey good for viral infections? And honey is one of my favorite natural foods. It has some amazing antimicrobial properties. I think it's a fantastic sweetener. I've seen it really help people with chronic throat infections. I've seen it heal up wounds. One of the stories that you may have seen on our patient testimonial is about Jim, who got his tibia. He fell and he had a compound fracture of his tibia. They went in and they put a plate on it. It got infected. They took the plate out. They gave him antibiotics. They gave him IV antibiotics. They gave him hyperbaric oxygen. They had to replate it. It got infected again. It was just this reoccurring cycle over about a 2-year period. And one of the fun things was able to do was his mom brought him into the office and said, look, they're considering doing amputation. The infection's so bad in his shin bone, and what can you do for it? And the answer was, let's see how much we can help stimulate his immune system with vitamin C therapies. Niacin is so effective against superbugs and bacteria, so that's one of the things we gave him. And then we applied honey over the wound, and we got it to heal up. And the wound care department at the hospital asked me to give a presentation on how we were able to help him because it had been a real resistant case. And it was fun to share some, kind of outside of the box medical ideas with the wound care department. And anyway, it was just a great patient outcome all the way around. Medicine was a significant part about it. We were able to bump him up just a little bit. And so Cupcake Paper, honey is one of my favorite medicinal foods. I use it to sweeten things. I love it on cereal for oats in the morning, and I also really like it in a hot drink that I like called Postum. I put honey in it instead of sugar. So I think that there's some really neat properties with honey. We're talking about what you can do to be healthy on Dr. Jason West Live, Thursday nights, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. We've talked about infections and how it can mimic serious neural diseases like epilepsy. That was Royden's case. We're also talking about how we can help organ function with proteomorphogen therapy, advanced nutritional therapy, and vitamin C infusions. Vitamin C is my all-time favorite vitamin. No, wait a minute. It's vitamin A. No, wait a minute. It's vitamin D. Wait, it's vitamin E. Okay, I'm joking because they're all my favorites because they all have significant function and importance in the body. And we were talking about what we can do in the wintertime. The wintertime to be healthy, move. I think it's get outside, get oxygen in your system, eat healthy and alive foods, drink adequate water. Most people are not drinking enough water. They'll say, well, it's kind of boring, or it doesn't taste good, or I got to go to the bathroom too much. And my response is, well, you know what? It's such an underrated modality. Dr. Batman GD wrote this book about your body's many cries for water. And then I think it was Nancy Ambleton wrote a book called You're Not Toxic, You're Not Sick, You're Toxic, and about vitamins, water, and stuff like that. What an amazing nutrient. Now, I want to talk about what happens in chronic stress patterns, and I'm going to show you a patient outcome. Carol, one of my buddies up in, well, I shouldn't probably say where, but not too far away from the office, and been taking care of Carol and her family for, I think it's over 10 years now, off and on. And her case is great because of a organ problem and a hormone problem. Now, when we talk about hormones, everybody immediately starts thinking of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, maybe cortisol, DHA, and yes, those are all significant hormones. But there's so many more hormones than, muscle hormones, liver hormones, brain hormones. I mean, there's just gobs and gobs of hormones. And when you do some simple testing for the adrenal glands or the thyroid gland, that is one component. But if those are off, nearly all hormones are off. And one of the master hormones that really gets picked on and kind of undertreated and overtreated is the thyroid gland, because it's so important and significant for metabolism. So the thyroid controls your sensitivities to temperatures. It has a significant impact on your skin. It has a really important on your nail health. It's involved in your heart, and it's involved in your stamina, and it's involved in your moods and emotions. And Carol had been struggling with thyroid conditions. We were able to do a combination of balance therapy, of protomorphogen therapy, of organ and nutritional therapy. Here's her story, and here's what happened to her. So here's Carol's story on thyroid conditions. And why I wanted to show this was because if there's a hormone concerns that you're experiencing, it's a sign of imbalance. And the way to help that is it's not always giving a thyroid prescription. It's also about balancing the body. Here's Carol's story. Check it out.
Yeah, I had postpartum thyroidism, so my thyroid levels were elevated a lot right after I had my daughter. So I came to Dr. West seeking help.
And what are the symptoms of that?
Rapid heartbeat, really foggy mind. It's hard to explain, just foggy in the head and the brain feeling. Hard to focus, hard to concentrate, tremors. So I couldn't have a conversation with someone and I would just shake and tremble. My whole body would. Loss of hair. I lost a lot of hair. Weight loss. I dropped, I can't remember how many pounds, at least 40 pounds after I'd had my third child. And I didn't gain 40 pounds, so I had lost a lot of weight. No energy, exhausted, always tired, always wanted to sleep. At the end, when it had been going on for a while and I didn't know what it was getting to the point where I couldn't really walk. I was just so exhausted and my heart was beating so fast. So walking was almost impossible.
And how has he helped you? Or has it helped, and what kind of treatments did he use?
It has helped. I first started coming 3 days a week, I believe, for a couple weeks. And after my very first treatment, and this was when it was at the absolute worst, the day I came in, I literally just dragged myself back to a room, and he gave me injections in my thyroid and in my heart, and almost immediately I felt a difference. I didn't feel healed by any means. I was still experiencing every single symptom, including the rapid heartbeat, but I just felt a little edge taken off compared to how I had felt before. And by the next morning, I felt back to where I was. I was just really sick again. And so I came again. That was the plan, to come again, get the same treatment. I also got ozone put directly into my blood and some IVs. And then the same thing the third day. And I did feel better, still not back to normal. Still sitting on a sofa chair all day long, having other people take care of my 3 little girls. I had actually moved home with my mom. Not moved home, but went home with my mom during this whole process because I was unable to take care of my children. So then the next week came and I went 2 days. And then the next week I came 2 days. And I was slowly making progress, getting IVs every time, thyroid injections. And then after 4 weeks of that, 2 days every week, 2 to 3 days every week, I could take care of my own children. My heart rate was back down to normal. My hair started coming out less and less. And the tremors were getting better and my energy was slowly coming back. After 4 weeks, I didn't feel completely healed, but I felt better than I had in months. And it was actually the day I went to go watch my husband watch my half marathon that was the biggest difference. And that's when I felt like I can do this again. I can start running again. So that 4-week marker was huge for me.
And where are you at today?
9 months. And I run a marathon next weekend. So I'm doing great.
Okay, you guys, so that was Carol's story. I wanted to share that with you because when people don't feel good, what happens is we have a tendency to overwork the organ systems, the thyroid gland, the adrenal glands. Then what happens is it kicks into the pituitary gland, and as you start to deplete those hormone levels, you just don't feel very well. And so again, it's all about balance and harmony. And if you're just joining us, it's the Dr. Jason West live program. We're talking about ways to be healthy, and it's so important for you to remember in the media right now, like you can't pick up a tablet, your iPhone, you can't get on your desktop or your radio or the TV, and when they're talking about the end of mankind and all of these infections and the infection rates, and I just wish sometimes that we'd also be able to share some of the wins and successes over there, that there's a lot of people that are getting over the infections as they're going around. There's a lot of people that have been exposed and they're asymptomatic. And yes, it's really tragic that there are people that are in the hospital system or passing away from infections, but also have the perspective that the difference between people that are getting better and the people that are really struggling or not doing well with infections is the immune system. And it's all about the immune system. And I wanted to share with you as a last patient story about Connie. Now, Connie came into the office BC. BC means before Corona, okay? So this was a couple years ago. And the reason why I wanted to share the story is because she was attacked by a horrible viral infection. The first time that I saw Connie in the office, I think it was 2015 or 16, one of the thoughts that was going through my head was, please don't die in my office. She was literally that sick. They all carried her into the office. They didn't know what it was. There was not really a complete diagnosis as far as what type of virus that it was, but it was a virus of unknown cause, and she was like, hey, I don't have any medical options for me right now. You got to do something. And I said, hey, let's do our immune system bolster program. Let's work on the thymus gland, which is the gland right behind your sternal notch here, which is so important for T cell differentiation. T cells help to upregulate and modulate the immune system, and also one of the most important glands in Oriental medicine, which is the spleen, which is really kind of, for the most part, ignored in traditional medicine because they're saying, well, what is it? It's kind of a blood reservoir if you get in a serious abdominal trauma or car accident. You know, you hear about the spleens getting removed, but it's so important for your immune system, the spleen and the thymus gland. And so we started working with Connie. She made an amazing recovery. vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D, zinc. If you keep your immune system healthy, it's the best way that we can live, and also that we can avoid infections from bacteria, from parasites, from viruses, for amoebas. I mean, like if you think about how life works, every day our immune system is warding off bad guys, repairing tissue, getting rid of traumatized or damaged tissue, putting new tissue in place. I mean, it's such an amazing system, and when the immune system is healthy, we have good outcomes. That's the goal of everything that we do inside the office. And just remember that there's millions of people that are recovering. There's millions of people that have been exposed to different types of infections and are recovering. And it's not that it's Pollyanna and that everything is fine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wish sometimes we would celebrate the wins as well as looking at the infection rates and the death rates and everything else. So let me show you Connie's story. This is what we're going to end. We're going to show this really quick segment, then I'll wrap it up. Dr. Jason West Live, How to Be Healthy, December 3rd, 2020. Check out Connie's story. This is one of my favorites. Hey guys, this is Dr. J. Welcome to our blog, A Daily Dose of Vitamin H. Just really excited to share an amazing outcome. I asked Connie if she'd come in and be on the testimonial, because when we first saw her a couple weeks ago, my thought process was, please don't die in the office because you're that sick. I mean, she just was really, really not sick. And Connie, what did they tell you that you had?
They told me, well, one hospital said West Nile, one said fever of an unknown cause.
Okay, but we knew you were really sick. And
I was sick enough that they kicked me out of the hospital. They couldn't fix it. They said, don't come back here.
Okay, so she came to the office, and we started treating her for a chronic viral infection. We saw some things that, and whether it was the West Nile virus or Epstein-Barr or cytomegalovirus, we treat those pretty much the same, which is to make the body healthy. So what treatments did we do?
What? I have no idea.
Okay, so
infusion of
yes.
vitamin C, I think.
Yes, we at the
And
first
minerals.
she was so sick that we hooked her up to the vitamin C infusions and really give really high doses of vitamin C. We've gone through a series of treatments. Today is number 11, right? And how are you feeling?
I am feeling 90% or maybe even 100% better. And when I came in, I was taking ibuprofen and some other thing. And after that first infusion, I never took another thing.
So it was a remarkable turnaround to take someone literally with one foot in the grave to really 100% better in a series of treatments. Would you recommend anybody else do the treatment?
Oh, I think it was wonderful. When I came in, I laid my head here.
Yep.
I didn't even know what you looked like.
So I have got a lot of information from Connie's daughter. We had a little bit of interaction, but again, right after the first infusion, we saw a huge turnaround.
Yeah.
And so now we're actually getting ready to put Connie on our health and wellness program to make sure that we never slide back, but we're pretty much done with the treatments. Is it okay to put on social media?
Absolutely.
All right, you guys, this is Dr. J and Connie with the Daily Dose of Vitamin H. All right, you guys, so it's again about the immune system, getting enough water inside your system, moving, get healthy and alive foods in your system. When you sit down to eat, you should have a color of rainbows on your plate. You should have some red, some green, some orange, some yellow. Making sure that your digestive system is working. I recommend, digestive enzymes. I love apple cider vinegar to help break food down. Apple cider vinegar has acetic acid. It helps to break down the food so that you digest it better. It's an old folklore remedy that I think has some wonderful advice with it. Getting enough vitamin D3 in your system. I really like vitamin D3 for hormone health, for bone health, for immune system, for moods and emotions, for seasonal affective mood disorder. Vitamin A helps your mucous membranes and your respiratory tract, and it helps modulate the cytokine storm, which is all of the chemicals that are going after sick cells. And then zinc is so important as a modulator. It helps the thymus gland, which is the gland that helps with T cell differentiation, and also with your spleen, which is so important in the immune system response. There's some really neat things that are going to be happening for us in December 2020 and moving on into 2021. Like, we all hope that it's better than this rough year that we've been experiencing all across the world and across the United States and our communities. And the way to make the best impact on that is to be as healthy as possible. If you're healthy, then what that makes is people around you don't have to be worried about spreading something on accident. And if you come in contact with something bad, your immune system is going to knock it out. So I'm appreciative that you're joining me. A couple shout outs to Robert Harmon and Arnold Bird. I wanted to say hi to a couple other people. My name is Sharon Bird, Guy Cabral, Margaret Noker, my friend from the Midwest, and of course Barbara Bach in Chicago. I just wanted to say hi to everybody on that cupcake paper. It's nice to pick you up and see you back. We are doing the show next week, Thursday, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. We're going to talk about different health topics and what we've seen inside of the office during the week. We've had a wonderful response to some really neat outcomes inside of the office, and I love my West Clinic team. It's fun to work with them. I have some amazing gifted providers with Shelby Stoddard and Dr. Scott Nelson and Dr. Ward. I mean, those guys have bring the freight. I mean, it's amazing to work with people that really are gifted healers. And anyway, it's just really neat. So yes, I'm really happy to be alive and functioning in 2020 because it's going to get better. This is Dr. Jason West, and we'll see you next week. See you later.